Are you
Yep.
familiar with Christopher Rufo and James Lindsay and how the whole?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit? Because I was there from the very beginning, like when they first came on the scene, both of them, first James and then Chris, a little bit slightly later. So I want to hear your experience with like hearing about these people and maybe tell our audience a little bit about who they are, if you don't mind.
Well, I know that Rufo is from one of a quote unquote conservative think tank, and has all of the labels of working within certain administrations. I know that he's worked in the DeSantis administration as an advisor down in Florida. In fact, he helped to craft their anti woke, quote unquote, anti woke laws, anti CRT laws down there. My first interaction or introduction to him was in via social media, where I came across a few years ago some of his ideas about um, integrating terms like CRT and woke into the common lexicon of anything associated with multiculturalism, diversity, equality, justice, even learning about accurate history. For him, his notion was to throw it all under the auspices of being CRT so that he could move forward with the overall agenda of the think tank that he worked for. Now, can I
Hang on
put it in
before
layman's
you
term
before
with
you go.
regard?
Wait,
Oh, I'm
wait,
sorry. Go
wait.
ahead.
Before you go forward, I want to cut in here just for our audience so that
Yeah.
you guys understand something about what he just said. Like, um, what he just said, this master plan, this was a publicly proclaimed plan on social media. He actually wrote this out. I have the quote here. It's still public.
Oh yeah. Pull it up.
It says, "We have successfully frozen their brand, critical race theory, into the public conversation and are steadily driving up negative perceptions. We will eventually turn it toxic as we put all of the various cultural insanities under that brand category."
Yes. He literally tweeted that out into the world on, uh, Al Gore's internet, and told or projected exactly what their purpose and their how they would go about achieving their ultimate goal. Now, let's call it what it is. Why would he do something like that? Why is he working to do those sorts of things? And I don't like to sound conspiratorial, but we have to call. I love Ayanna Vincent, and I used to watch her show, and she had some really neat sayings. And one of them was, "We have to call a thing if we're ever going to address it." And this guy is what he's doing through that tweet, what he is doing through the impact and policy that he's having is doubling down on tenets of white supremacy, which inherently works to maintain itself by depressing or doing away with anything that could challenge it. So critical race theory, even though it's not taught in K through 12 schools and things of that nature, the legal theory itself does challenge white supremacy, keeping in mind that it is a theory. They're afraid.
I would even say though that like even though it does I would say even the way it's presented isn't as much of a challenge. It's more of just like information about, It's I would
It
even say
frames what
yeah,
is
exactly. It's just
and what has
a
been.
statement of reality. Yeah, like exactly.
It frames reality from the past and the present. And so we have to call these people and their attempts exactly what it is. And they are facilitating these tenets of white supremacy in order to maintain the status quo, which is predicated upon white supremacy, where white people with less melanin than you and I, maintain the levers of power in this country, in all of its institutions, which of course is inherently, inextricably linked to the wealth in this country as well. And they are doubling down because the projections about the diversification of the various groups of people in this country have them fearful again. And a lot of that fear, if you've read Roland Martin's book, White Fear, he highlights and he tells his gives his opinions about some of the fears that are driving these things, and they're all rooted in the fear of retribution, the fear of losing power, the fear of losing influence, the unconscious fear of losing privileges that people are afforded simply because of the melanin count in their skin, and many of those fears are unconscious as well. So Rufo is, he's just one of many arrows in the quiver of white supremacy right now, who is unfortunately being successful. He is partnering with this Moms for Liberty group, who is leading the charge on many of these things within education. He's partnered with other groups. There's a lot of dark money that's funding them. And, I would encourage people to go do their own research. I'll put it that way.
Same. That's what I did, and I think that I recommend it because it's so outrageous. You don't want to hear these crazy things from somebody else. You want to go find it yourself because
go find it. It's out there.
Seeing is believing, and you need to. People need to see how bad things are for themselves, and it goes back to what I was saying about displaying race interplay, the power of white supremacy for people who never see it, White Fear, Marigoth, thank you for this note. White Fear was the first book that we read in our book club. So, we did read it and talk about it, and it's exactly what you said. Those fears. A lot of people don't understand why so many people are focused on the questions related to race. Focus on the subject of race. It's because many of us have now made the connection. Too many of us, to ignore, have made the connection between race and the systems of power in the country, and ultimately. We realize that connection will make or break this place. That's the simplest way that I can say it. Either we are going to reckon with this subject matter and make tangible, substantial, material changes to our society on the basis of the recognition of what has been done and what we want to do now, in a new set of shared values that we develop together that do not incorporate a racial hierarchy that we've hung on to for all these generations. That's one option. The other option is attempting to maintain the status quo until this place gets razed to the ground, because that is the only place that trying to do that leads. So, we are at this existential crisis, and I think that more and more people are going to become more aware of it over time, right? As things get worse and worse, as they are destined to do at this point. And all we got to do is get enough. We have to be ready for that, ready to scoop these people up and to, hold them close, and bring them into the fold and show them that all hope is not lost, but you must lose something. And we are going to be here losing something together with you, and let's do that, or at least choose. Just choose, choose to lose something or choose to hang on to what you have for as long as you can. But choose with knowledge. Choose with knowledge.
Yes. That's a very powerful line. Yes. And I think that's part of my purpose now, is to help to spread aspects of that knowledge based on my areas of expertise, based on my life's experiences, and based on the things that I continue to learn on a daily basis. And that is to spread that knowledge, right? So it seems like a very imposing task, and it seems overwhelming at times, but I'm reminded, that you simply just need to start with the person who's within arm's reach of you, and then have that person to do the same. And before you know it, you've made a real impact in real ways. And I've literally seen it happen. So I appreciate you again highlighting these pieces, and also highlighting some of the manifestations of how the topic of race is presenting today.